Your questions, your answers.
BBC Radio Bristol.
Because knowledge is power. We couldn't afford that bit, by the way. We ran out of the money by the time we got to that bit on the voiceover, so it's down to me. Louis in Weston-super-Mare. Morning, Louis. Or afternoon, I should say. John, I have a question. I recently came off social media. So glad I have, and I feel better within myself. My mental health is a lot better. Annoyingly, I had to wait 30 days to delete my account. My question is, why is social media so addictive? And why does it cause mental health issues? And it's so hard for people to be unaware of how long they spend on it. Now, we did talk about this yesterday, Louis, that, you know, you get a little sort of teeny tiny, when somebody likes something you put up on social media. It's a little dopamine hit, makes you feel good, and then you don't feel good when people don't like your stuff, and then you feel bad. And obviously, it's this other thing, which if you've got teenagers in your world, you know this, FOMO, fear of missing out. Which is why those desert islands are looking even more attractive to some of us than they were a while back. Louis in Weston-super-Mare's question, let's put it to Dr. Rachael Molitor, who is a chartered psychologist. Rachel, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much indeed. Social media, digital media, whatever you choose to call it, why is it so addictive?
So it's addictive because if it's something we enjoy, basically anything we enjoy can be addictive. And as you just mentioned, it basically is all about dopamine. So if in doubt, dopamine is what I say when I'm talking about sort of behavioural addictions.
Okay.
So dopamine is basically a neurotransmitter where, like, if you do something and you enjoy it, you get this hit of dopamine. You think, wow, I feel fantastic. But the problem is this dopamine eventually wears off, and we become accustomed to that level of dopamine. So we need to do something more and more to be able to get that same response. Hence why we can get addicted to anything, whether it be substance addictions or behavioural addictions such as exercise or social media or anything really we enjoy to do. And the problem then is when you stop doing it, you have that real need and that drive to be able to do it. And it is anything we enjoy, whether it be getting likes or comments on social medias or putting it out there for our friends and our family to see. It's something that we enjoy to do. And that's how it can be so simply, but as we said, very addictive.
So these social media companies, be they Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, TikTok, what have you, they know this. So they are psychologically aware of our psychology and are using our psychology to make certain that we use their platforms, which means that they can then sell advertising for the eyes that they know are watching because they've created this addictive cycle. I think
it's interesting to note, yes, that social media can be addictive, but so can everything else. And in that sense, if you use the same argument, you could say that gyms get us to come in to do exercise because we can get addicted to that. So I believe things like Facebook and Instagram, yes, absolutely, they use advertisements. It's the way that they pay for their marketing, because we have most of our Facebooks and Twitters and such are free unless you've now paid for the blue tick. But most of the time, anything that you want to do and you enjoy, they do rely on this ability to enjoy something and do it. It's just that fine line, as we've been discussing, a fine line between enjoying something and taking the time to be able to use it, using it for its positives over being addicted to something. And social media can actually be really positive. And we saw this back in the pandemic beforehand when we were all very isolated, and being able to talk to our friends and family, having that ability to communicate with people was brilliant. It just took up so much of our lives which we had nothing else to do because we were in, self-isolation. Whereas now our lives are kind of getting back into it. We're starting to get back out into the world again, and people can still be having that same scrolling on social media, that same need for feedback and comparison. And that's where it can be associated with mental health issues. There is this fine line again between the association and causality. So at the moment, the most recent research is looking at it not being a causal effect, but more associated with things like self-esteem.
There's an interesting thing that goes on here as well, is that you when you look at people you follow or people who are friends on whatever platform, they sort of fall into various groups. There are the ones who are a bit like that kid that you were in the class with at school, in primary school, who's always got they're at the front of the class and they're always going, oh, pick me, miss, me. Or there are kids at the back of the class going, please don't pick me, don't come anywhere near me. I don't want to go. And the ones in the middle going, yeah, it's okay if you pick me. I'm not really fussed, to be honest. I quite quite like the window, I quite like the lesson. And Facebook is full of that. You get lots of people who are posting going, me, look at my food and my feet and my holiday and my wonderful life and everything else. And people, put the odd thing up here and there, and there are bits in between. And of course, it can make you feel very sort of disjointed, can't you, when you look at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you say that because I'm a lecturer at Coventry University and I see that exact thing. I see people at the front being like, me, pick me next.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. That is exactly the same within social media. So there is something called the rose-tinted effect, which basically means we show our best lives or our worst lives on social media. We never really show that middle group of people. We never show the in-between. We live our best lives. I've just been on holiday myself and I put on posts being like, look at me on this beach, isn't it wonderful? But also you could put on social media to say, I've had a really difficult time. People will come out and they will support you and say, oh, what's wrong, hon? And they say, oh, PM me. But there is that sort of middle ground where you don't see that. And it's really important for people to note when they see people putting on posts of their holidays and their amazing lives and their wonderful cars, you have to remember that is a tiny snapshot of what really is going on in this world. That 1% of someone's life, their 99%, especially if they are like an influencer or something, their 99% is spent behind the phone on their own, making their little hashtags, making everything work to use it as a business purpose. So we have to remember social media life, is not real life.
Wise words. Thank you, Rachel, for joining me. Dr. Rachael Molitor there, chartered psychologist.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. And there you go, Louis, in Weston-super-Mare. Your question, your answer. Done.